Well, hello guys. Thanks for stopping by virtually. Come into my house. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you guys my 6 tips for organizing a small space, whether it's a small apartment or home that you live in, or maybe it's a small office space, whatever it is. I wanted to share some 6 tips that you guys can use, especially during this time that we're at home most of the time and we're not able to really go out. This is a good time to get those cleaning and organizing projects in order. I also think that it's so important to make your home, especially a place of sanctuary or any place where you spend a lot of time. I think it's important to make it just a place where you feel inspired and you also feel at peace. And I love organizing. I literally find it so fun, and for me it's almost like a mental challenge and a game of, you know, problem solving, like how can I maximize this space. And so for me it's a fun, creative task, but I know for some of you guys cleaning and organizing is definitely not your thing. But I do think there is some value to having a clean and organized space. Just think about it, when you go to like a very beautiful setting, whether it's out in nature or maybe it's some nice building that you enter into, you're immediately attracted to, or you feel a certain vibe or energy from the space that you're in. And so you want to make sure to create that kind of environment in your own home or your own space. I remember hearing about a study that was done a while ago about a low-income housing unit, which we call here in the US a project. And on one side, the tenants were facing like a beautiful park. And then on the other side, they were facing other projects. And in this study, they found that the people who faced the park, they actually had better socioeconomic outcomes. They aspired for more. They pursued education and things of that nature. And then people on the other side facing other projects, they more or less stayed stuck in their socioeconomic status. And that, I can't remember the details. I was really trying to recall it. It was such a fascinating study. If anyone out there happens to know it, please let me know down below. I would love to know more about it. But it just basically went to show that your environment definitely affects you. It affects your mental state. It affects like your self-efficacy, what you believe that you can achieve. So I do think it's very important to create that space that makes you feel good. I wanted to start by talking about my personal aesthetic or design philosophy. I've spent many years in my life traveling around the world and the US, and I mean there's still so many more places I need to see, but that basically led me to a very nomadic lifestyle in my early 20s. And because of that, I only owned what I could carry on my back, literally. And I remember I even had one sarong that I got from a market during a college event from Brazil. And this sarong I would wear as a shirt, as a dress, as a scarf, as a skirt. I would use it for a home decor, like a wall drapery, like a tapestry. I used that sarong until it had holes in it. I even used it as a bag, like a purse. I tied it into a satchel of some sort. So I really did not like to get things. And I think because of that, now that I'm living in DC, this is the first time in my life that I am actually stable in one place. And I know my family and friends are very happy about that, because they would always say like, oh my god, what is your number? I have to save your number with a date on it, because I never know where in the world you will be or what your new number will be. So this is the first time that I actually in one place, and I wanted to be very intentional about everything that I purchased in my home. So all in all, The way that I would describe my style is more of a bohemian mixed with minimalist, mixed with rustic, or what they call now farmhouse chic, and modern. I kind of like to blend all of these styles together, so that's my point of view. Of course, everyone has their completely different taste. The principles that I want to share with you guys today, you can still apply no matter what your personal aesthetic is. So tip number 1 is to incorporate plants and flowers into your home. And plants are just so wonderful to include in your home because not only are they aesthetically appealing to see some color, some life in your home, but also they help to clean the air depending on what kind of plants you get. And you can get plants that can adapt to different environments that you're in. Similarly, I think that flowers are just such a beautiful thing to get. They just brighten up the space. I've gotten into this tradition of buying myself flowers every week because I feel like you don't have to wait for someone else to buy you flowers. You also don't have to wait for a special occasion. And I've noticed in doing this ritual that men and women both appreciate this ritual that I have, and it's because it's a part of nature and everyone appreciates it. And I think when you get flowers, it helps you just kind of inherently just create this habit of self-care, that you're taking time for yourself to appreciate the little things. I think it also creates mindfulness. It also helps you take care of a living thing. It helps you, appreciate the ephemeralness of things. There's just so many amazing things that we're not probably even conscious of. In addition to the plants and flowers, I also like to incorporate a lot of natural elements like glass and wicker and linens and cotton and things that just give me a sense of nature and that are as natural as possible. My tip number 2 is my favorite. It's form and function. With form and function, what I mean is that you want to get something that is aesthetically appealing, so something that catches your eye, that you gravitate towards, but at the same time that's functional, that's practical. I rarely get something in my home just because, or even in my wardrobe, I rarely buy anything unless it's practical, but at the same time it has to be aesthetically appealing. A third element to that is that it's versatile. I love to get things, especially if you have a small space, so movable furniture is a good idea, whether it's an ottoman or a bench that has storage space. I really wanted to get a couch that was a sofa bed, but my space literally can't even take that because we tried to fit just a regular size couch through my doorway and we literally tore up the hallway wall. Luckily my landlord was very nice about it. But yeah, I literally can't even fit it through my door. But if you can fit a nice sofa bed in your space, or one of those couches with storage space, anything that helps you to create more utility out of it. So if you have overnight guests or you want to store things and you have limited space, that's a really great option. Another wild idea, but not so wild, is a Murphy bed. A Murphy bed is one of those beds that just fall off from the wall and you can put back up. I think that's a cool idea in theory. I have a friend who has a Murphy bed and seems to work for him, but I personally don't feel a need to have a Murphy bed because I just feel like, well, what am I gonna have to keep moving around with furniture? It just doesn't make sense for me, but a Murphy bed is something that you can also consider. My third tip is to get mirrors. Now you probably have heard this a lot, but mirrors just helps to open up the space. It reflects light. It also gives the illusion of a bigger space with the reflections. So mirrors are a great addition to the home, but you can also get very creative about it. You don't have to necessarily just get a standard mirror. Right? You can get a mirror that's also a decorative accent, and that way you're introducing again the form but function. So my fourth tip is to use your walls. So you have all this real estate on your walls, you might as well use it, especially if you have a small space. And that means that you're hanging shelves, or you're hanging your pots from the ceilings, or you're hanging your mirror even off of the floor onto the wall. So that leads me to my tip number 5, which is to avoid clutter. And I think that when you don't have clutter, it just makes the space feel like open and airy, and it just makes you feel like more relaxed, like you have more space to breathe, right? So definitely having things on the wall rather than on the floor will help with clutter. And I think it's just important to make sure that there's not so much real estate on the floor. Like, I think carpets are a wonderful way to make a space feel cozy if you have like a rug. But if you have rugs every single square inch of the space, I mean, this is different from a carpet, but if you have, whether you have a rug on your carpet or on your floor, the point is to show some of that natural floor or carpet, because you don't want to cover the floor so much, because then it'll just look very cluttered. Same thing if you have things under your bed and like in corners, boxes in corners. Just try to minimize the clutter as much as possible. Don't keep anything that you don't need or don't want, because that's just unnecessary. And yeah, it's so easy for us to pile up these things over time. There's also things that you can buy to help you organize your space, whether it's a shoe rack or closet racks, or there are makeup compartments that I use. There's different things that you can use to just help to declutter the space and put things into more organized fashion, so it's easier to find and it's also still visually appealing. And to that point, I wanted to recommend one book that I'm sure you guys are some of you guys are familiar with, and it's Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and I will add it here for you guys so that you can check it out, and also include a link for the book below. But this book literally lives up to its name. It's a very short book, so it's like maybe this thick. It's very simple read, and the most important parts of the text are bolded, so you can even just skim it if you want. But it's a wonderful book to get started if you want to tidy up your home and you don't really know how. And it really is life-changing. It really changes your philosophy on how you even treat yourself and you treat your space. And yeah, it's just an amazing book, and it's definitely a good way to organize your home if you're interested in that. So my last tip number 6, is to design your space with the 5 senses in mind. And what does that mean? So we know sight, smell, sound, taste. So with all of these senses in mind, you want to create your space. So I really believe in aromatherapy, so having incense or candles or plugins or an oil diffuser, anything that creates that nice smell in the home. And just in general, soft feeling fabrics, or fabrics that make you feel good. And in terms of taste, even like, what kind of food are you putting out for display? Are these foods that inspire you to live your best life? And it's sound. What kind of sound do you have? Do you have any sound? And maybe it's music that inspires you, or maybe it's no music, but it's like a peaceful silence instead of hearing the buzzing of something, some electronic in your house. So it's definitely good to keep in mind all of these different things when you're creating your space. I have one more bonus tip for you guys that I wanted to mention. Now, this is definitely your preference, but in general, when you have a small space, it's also good not to have too many dark, heavy furniture. You want to try to get furniture that is maybe light in color, that is not so boxy, and you want to play with the different shapes. So if you have a rectangular sofa or couch, then maybe you want to get like a circular table, and that will also give a sense of just creating more of an open, airy space when you have a small space. Okay guys, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, please hit the bell notification so that you can get updates of when I upload. I'm planning to upload every week, up to 2 videos a week, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.